So hello everyone. So today I will be talking about retro arcades and uh, and this COVID-19 thing. Well, before the COVID-19 thing, I used to go to retro arcades and retro arcade bars quite almost every weekend. And now we can't do that. So a lot of these retro arcade bars and retro arcades are closed uh, because uh, because of all the lockdowns, right? So when I was able to go to these retro arcades, it was I didn't really go there just to play the games. I just went there because I just want to go there because of the nostalgia, and it was quite. You could hang around there for an hour or two, and it was quite. The cost was quite reasonable. It's like anywhere from $10 to $12 an hour when you went to these places. And on this web page, this is just a regular retro arcade, and these are the locations that it's located. I went to the one here in Northridge quite often, like every couple of weeks or something. And now you really can't go there. That's what sucks about it. They had a lot of different types of arcade games there, like the original machines like this. Like this is the original Dig Dug. I think the Centipede or Millipede, Popeye, Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I think that's the classic Pac Man. And this one is run by these two people right here. It's a Neon Retro Arcade. This one's just an arcade. You just go in there and pay like whatever, $12 here an hour. If you want to stay there all day, you pay $25, and you could stay there until they close. And if you bring more people, then you get some kind of discount for 2 hours. You could stay with four people, it would be $60. So with four people individually, if they came, that'd be like $80. And this is like I also went to retro arcades that had like bars in it too. And yeah, you could order all types of drinks there. This is an article that was written about retro arcade bars. This was written in May 31st, 2017. So from maybe around 2015 to maybe 2020, like right now, before the COVID-19 thing happened. Retro arcades kind of like made a comeback around 2014. They um, they pretty much died out. I think around 2001 or 2002. You really didn't see that many retro arcades around. You may have seen some arcade machines in movie theaters. They may have had a couple of arcade machines, but maybe up to like 2008 even. But pretty much arcades pretty much died off around around the 2000s, around the early 2000s. A lot of them ceased to exist, and a lot of them just closed down and went out of business. But um, they seem to be making they they were making a comeback around 2014 onwards, and people came up with the idea of starting a retro arcade just for the arcades and retro arcade bars and restaurants, and that is quite interesting how people were able to do that. And the people who started Neo Retro Arcade created two. I mean, they expanded to two locations. which is pretty good. They have pinball arcades as well. This one is in New York City. I've never went there. I haven't been in New York City for a while, so I don't know. But that's an interesting thing. This is Barcade. This is in Wilmington, Williamsburg. For some reason, it's not really recommended. I don't know why, but okay. So it's a franchise that's in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut. Okay, around the Northeast. Hmm. Monday to Thursday from 4 to 7, and Friday from 2 to 7 for $1 off all beer, wine, and well drinks. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I used to go to bars too before the COVID thing happened. But I didn't just go there to just play video games. I went there because I wanted to get that feeling of the past, and it was quite interesting. They didn't really have. I don't think the food was any good or anything, but it's a fun place to go. It was fun. This is another arcade in Brooklyn, Barcade. Okay, this one has Tetris and all these other arcade games. There's also a bar, so you play a game, you get something to drink, and have fun. Basically, I miss it. I can't go. I can't go to places like this. So it has been making a comeback since, like, this article was written on August 15, 2014. This is from mainstream media, from ABC News, and how virtual arcades are making a comeback now. Well, they used to be the staples of shopping malls back in the day. When I went to the mall, they had an arcade called Space Station, and it was in the mall, and I would go there every weekend and with my friends, and we'd play various types of arcade games. They had a lot of arcade games there. My favorite being the Ninja Warriors and Operation Wolf, to name a few. Tommy Williams remembers when they were on every block where he grew up in Newport Beach, California, and how they later started to disappear, all shutting down by the late 1980s and early 1990s. Well, that's true. A lot of them were shutting down because we started getting 16-bit computers and video game consoles around that time, and that probably got rid of the advantages that arcades had in at that time, because back in the 8-bit era, arcade games were so much better than home console or home computer games. And then when the 32-bit era came around, like kind of like 1994 to 1999, that was a 32-bit era for computers and video games. You also had 64-bit video game consoles like the N64, and video game consoles like that pretty much that's what sealed the fate for arcades, I think. Because when it came to the PlayStation 1 and 32-bit computers, um, video games were as good as arcade, right? There was like almost no differentiation between the two. So I think a lot of these businesses kind of like attract people within my age line, people who were born from, like, I guess the late 1960s to probably the 19 early to up to 1980. So people born from 1965 to 1980. That would be people in my generation or Generation X. So I guess people like that would visit places like this, and they would bring their kids there as well, and show their kids how a retro arcade used to look like, basically. And while their kids are playing video games, we could get something to drink as well or eat, you know, which would give you the experience of how it was back then. That's pretty much how it was like. So yeah, that's one of the things I miss about not being able to go to these places. And to find the nearest retro arcade, you could just go to Google Maps and find one. Just put retro arcade, and a number of them will pop out. Or you could go to Google and just search it. I live in Los Angeles, so I'm gonna search one right here. Button Mash. That's what I used to go to. It's temporarily closed. This one is open, but we have this lockdown in Los Angeles, so only a small number of people could go in at a time, which is not fun, obviously. See what other places they got. Barcade. Got Player One near North Hollywood. I never went to that one. I went to this one, and this one. Let's go to their website. Take a look. The one in Los Angeles, of course. They're closed. I can't go there. How unfortunate. Yeah. Player One. Never wanted that one. I would like to go here. I guess after the pandemic's over, I will go here and try it out. Okay, this is where it's at. Awesome. About. So this is an arcade bar, a retro arcade bar. Yeah, so after the pandemic is over, maybe you could look up a retro arcade bar, or restaurant, or retro arcade in your area and go frequent one and see how it is like. Okay, anyways, thanks for watching. Ace 1000 KS 1975 signing out.